Three, two, one. You see what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps. I was gonna go with that's just like your opinion, man, but I feel like that's a more poignant quote from the Big Lebowski. I'm Adam from Your Movie Sucks. This is Sardonicast. Hello.
Sorry, it's funny. I'm Ralph. YouTube.com/RalphTheMovie.
I'm Alex Maichi, and why is the intro always so difficult, Trying to get all everyone in at the right time.
I just think it's amazing that we've been going on for years and it's always consistently awkward. I love it.
Yeah, what is it?
I think that's what makes it special.
Yeah. I think I saw that comment somewhere.
Yeah, I did steal that from the comment.
Yeah.
Called out. Yeah, that was a television edit for the Big Lebowski. So instead of fuck a stranger in the ass, it was find a stranger in the Alps. Yeah.
Love it.
It's like the Sam Jackson thing.
Oh yeah.
It's like snakes on a plane. They changed that.
Monkey fighting snakes on this Monday to Friday plane.
Yeah. That's hilarious. It's like even funnier than the normal
classic quote.
Yeah, there's good Hot Fuzz ones as well.
cut of it.
Mm-hmm. So I saw another YouTube comment on the last video that said that I forgot to talk about American Psycho 2. I don't know if either of you have seen that.
I'm glad you're bringing this up.
Yeah.
No. I was going to bring it up later in the questions, so I'm glad. I'm glad you're bringing it up.
Ralph, have you seen it?
Yeah.
Did you see it recently?
No, I didn't watch it right before this.
Okay. I watched it just after watching the American Psycho. There's no "the" at the beginning. And it was, I remember watching it as a kid and being so confused, I don't know, 15 or something, just barely remembering any of the movie. And then this time I watched it, it's like, oh yeah, the reason why I barely remembered anything is because it was so fucking boring. It was just the most boring, annoying, nonsense movie. And I'm not going to talk too long about it. I just wanted to mention it since we forgot.
When did it come out? What is the story behind it?
It came out 2002 in June.
It was 2 years after the original. And the story behind it is that some dickweed was making a completely different movie, and then I think Lionsgate was like, let's just call it American Psycho. So they shot 2 extra lines, a couple extra scenes that made it connect to the original.
Oh man.
Where basically the way they connected to the original is Mila Kunis, her younger version of her character is being babysat by someone, either by Patrick Bateman or someone that Patrick Bateman kills. And they don't show his face, and it's clearly not a super fit guy like Christian Bale was. It's just a normal looking dude. And
funny.
Then she American Psycho, Patrick Bateman kills the babysitter, and then she kills Patrick Bateman, and then she's like, and that's what started my bloodlust. But it's a virtuistic, is that a word? It's she says that her goal is to kill serial killers. And then she spends the whole movie killing innocent people that are getting in the way of her getting a job at the FBI. And then the movie just runs out of things to do halfway through it, and then dicks around for the end half and doesn't do it. It's very stupid and very boring.
So it's not a satire at all. It's just a straight
no.
Oh my god!
And it tries to be funny, cute as it's doing it. It's haha, it's a girl killing people. That's the whole tone of the movie. It's a killer, but it's a girl. Wow. Yeah. Just wanted to make sure we mentioned that. Movie news. Easy 1 out of 10. If anybody's curious, easy 1 out of 10. Movie news. So there was a month or two ago, there was this big post on Reddit that was Bruce Willis sells his face. He's the first actor to register with a deep fake company so they can use his likeness after he dies, or since he's retired from acting, I guess. And then the next day, there was another big post on Reddit that that was like Bruce Willis and his reps deny selling face to deepfake company. So it was quickly dispelled. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because we're entering an age of AI art becoming pretty convincing and pretty useful, especially like as single images. So we're moving towards the weird dystopian, like computers creating art sort of thing. And there's a lot of potential concerns with it that people have. And I wanted to know if I just wanted to get your opinion on it, both of you, just see how you feel about it.
It's hard not to find it a bit depressing, like the automation of like an artistic process. I try to think about like the positives that could come from it, because it's like, well, when people started using cars, I guess like similar conversations would be being had, but in a different field. But yeah, it is kind of depressing, like just how quickly all this stuff is moving. Like the technology is just like moving so scarily fast. It's like, are we just going to be able to like use an algorithm to like write a movie for us in like 15 years? And then let alone like the special effects and like, it's getting crazy. Like just like the technology and, like TikTok or whatever with all this like scanning your face and putting special effects over it. Like you don't really think about how like cheap and effective this kind of stuff's getting.
You mentioned special effects, but I mean, we already have automated simulations for particle effects, for water, for fire effects. It's not like an animator is manually deciding where every single molecule in the ocean in Avatar is going. Like they make simulations, and that's a part of the artistry, is creating the software that winds up doing the work for you in some degree, which I think is very interesting. And I think that the same thing exists in a sense in the AI art that we're seeing right now. So when people are using like, what was it called? Like Dolly and all this weird stuff where they're inputting text to get images out of it. The issue comes from, I guess, the idea that no matter what it's creating, it's using other images as references to be able to interpret and come up with its own image. And so I would say like it should at least list every image that it lifts from. Because if let's say you're feeding the AI only 10 different images and it's all from the same artist, then you've essentially copied the artist's style and created something using only like 10 of their images. Then it's kind of like, okay, well, that should at least be credited, or that should at least, how are we going to reconcile with that? That's part of the conversation right now.
Yeah, I've seen like the same arguments against it, and yeah, it is a weird, vague issue. But it would be nice if they could somehow credit. Like it's all automated anyway. Surely there's some kind of record they could attach to. I don't know. It's all such early days for like where this is going. Like what they're even doing with it. What they're trying to achieve. Like what is the end goal? Like,
yeah.
Ralph, have you seen any of this like AI art stuff going around? Like there's subreddits for it now too.
Yeah, I've seen it on Twitter and all kinds of stuff people make.
Yeah, there's really
it's really really interesting technology. Like it is interesting.
I'm fascinated by it because it also raises like the philosophical idea of like, okay, so if a computer is only lifting from other existing things to create art, and that's an issue to people, aren't we also doing the same? Like all of everything in our minds comes from our environment, right? And when we look at ideas of art, we're using other references of art that has existed before, and you can still create that into your own thing. And then it's just a question of like, how much is the computer also creating that into their own thing, right? Or the software, I mean. I don't know. There's still so much to go.
Yeah.
No, it does get deep because it's like, how many layers deep can you go with it? Because if you take that thought to its kind of extreme, it's like, the computers and the AI is designed and only got there because of humans, so it's almost like an extension of what humans are doing anyway. So you could see it as artistic from that lens.
One shitty thing that is very, very recent and has been happening, and I guess who knows if it's going to become an epidemic. But there was a person that submitted their AI art into an art competition and won without disclosing that it was AI art. And it's like, we can have a conversation about whether or not it should be in a different category, which it probably should, but not disclosing that, like, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, my mind goes to like this kind of like fake face kind of technology. Like,
oh yeah, deepfake.
There's going to be a point where you won't be able to trust like any video you see online, basically.
Politicians are just gonna. Every politician's gonna be filmed committing a crime, basically. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, gas station
so there
video.
have to be some kind of like scan or process or like technology that can figure out like deepfakes and stuff like that. Like that's going to get crazy.
Yeah. I think right now there's an equivalency for technology that can determine whether or not something's a deep fake, but who knows if one will outpace the other, right?
Yeah.
And then we just get into weird uncharted territory where it's like, I guess video doesn't mean anything anymore. I guess there's no such thing as video evidence anymore. Weird.
Yeah, then what do you do?
Yeah. Yeah, it's I love the idea of AI art. I support it in the sense that I love the technology and I want to see more of it and I want to see what it can do and I'm excited to see what its capabilities are. But probably just be honest with it, label it, try to credit its sources if that's possible. There's some furry websites that have just come out and been like, we are banning all AI art on the platform. It's like, if they don't say whether or not it's AI art, I don't know how you can tell. Like, you can't, there are some ways you can tell, like, depending on what's in it. But also, it's like, you could just make another category for it. I don't understand why you have to ban it on the platform. Just make another category. It's weird. If you use like the water simulation that I was talking about, if you use that in a background of a photo that you drew over, like, is that not some form of AI art? That's like assisted in some way, right? Like, I don't know.
True, yeah, like doing a drawing on an iPad almost.
Or like you use the tablet and you're using the software, and let's say you use like the spray paint tool. Like, you're not putting in each of those speckles. You're like sort of guiding it into its own simulation.
Well, yeah, you can set like custom brushes where the computer helps your lines be smoother or whatever you need it to be.
It looks like a brush or whatever. Yeah. All
right. Speaking of art made by machines, the DCU Entertainment Universe is they have a bunch of changes happening.
They changed the name. Yeah.
What is it called now, Ralph?
Wait, really?
Yeah. Just the DCU.
DCU.
Apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, that might be a rumor or something.
What was it before? What?
The DCEU was like the DC Extended Universe. Now it's just the DC. Now it's just DCU. Okay. Yeah, it's a coup. Very cool.
But yeah, now James Gunn is in charge of it creatively instead of Zack Snyder, I guess.
Yeah.
Which
people love his Suicide Squad movie, so it makes sense.
It's really cool that they decided to do this, particularly because like the Suicide Squad was released like during pandemic. I think like simultaneously on HBO Max, was it not?
Yeah, at the same time.
Yeah, so they would have like very
a lot of people saw it there.
Unprecedented box office numbers, whatever they got for it. But
yeah, it's people watch that one at home. A lot of people.
Yeah,
because it's not the same day.
Yeah, but I guess maybe just the public perception and enthusiasm, and maybe enough people signed up for the fucking subscription service. You never know.
Yeah, it made almost like $169 million.
Okay.
So, did well.
And there was also that spin-off show Gunn did with John Cena.
Oh, yeah.
I never saw that.
Yeah. Oh, I did. It's really good.
Is it good?
I enjoyed it. It's quite funny.
Okay.
Lots of good actors in it. And it ties in. Yeah. So it ties into Black Adam and it ties into the Suicide Squad. So
I have yet to see Black Adam. I might be seeing that this week.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay.
We'll see. I gotta
spoiler.
I gotta just like
really don't worry about it.
Get in the mindset of buying that ticket. And just being like, I'm gonna spend money on The Rock.
Yeah, it's not as bad. It's just it's not Morbius. It's not Morbius.
It's not Morbius. You're right.
It was much better than that.
So there's something about this. It's The Rock is the main thing that puts me off. Like everything else, I'm fine with, but it's just that. I don't know.
The
man.
Rock.
Yeah, like he's playing the Shazam villain, but he like refuses to have Shazam in the movie because of his like.
Oh, was that his decision? Was that The Rock's decision?
Yeah.
Why?
That's my understanding anyway.
He's like, no Shazam, I'm the star.
Because he wants it to be like his ego, like, yeah, I'm changing up, yeah. And then like reveals in the after credits or whatever, like, yeah, he wants this character to be like a bigger deal than it's like Black Adam, you know? I don't know.
That's funny.
There's something about this one that...
There's something like the hierarchy of DC is changing, right?
Yeah, all the advertising he's like put on his social media, it's like really embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's changing.
He's such a weird guy. He really embodies the current generation superstar attitude.
True.
He's doing his own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of James Gunn making creative decisions for DC, I mean, like that could only go well compared to what it is now, right? There's no way it could possibly be worse. So
yeah, well, they're kind of like trying to distance themselves from it too.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, the Zack Snyder stuff, yeah, it's like connected, but it's mostly its own thing. Like once Wonder Woman came out and Aquaman, like these directors have very interesting styles that are like actually like add to the movie. Like they're making something a little more like box office friendly, like appealing. Like Aquaman can be fun, and like Shazam is fun. They're like, oh, let's make stuff like that, like the Suicide Squad, instead of like the dark, kind of dreary stuff that like Zack Snyder did. Which it's now it doesn't even feel like the same universe. It's like someone turned the lights on, or like it's daytime now. There's lots of color, and it's like weird, but it's much more box office appealing than like Batman vs Superman, which was just like so poorly received.
It took them a long time to realize it. But the major thing that was missing from the Snyderverse was fun. Like, it took them a while to figure out, you should have fun in your movie.
Levity.
It should be a fun movie?
Yeah.
What? That's crazy. It, like, James Gunn was like,
Yeah, they're visually miserable.
Yeah. Some of the most miserable movies ever made. Honestly.
Yeah. They say Henry Cavill's going to have more charisma now in, like, the new ones. I'm like,
he's staying in it.
Yeah, he's Superman. That was announced.
Okay.
In future movies.
Because he left that Witcher show, didn't he, or something? So
that's funny.
Yeah. The writers apparently were mocking the book or something. They were like they didn't really like the source material as much as Henry Cavill did. Henry Cavill liked the books and he liked the games, and he's like, well, if they don't like respect the material. He's like
Maddie,
and now he's Superman, and now they got I think Luke Hemsworth. Brother of Thor?
Yeah, the brother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They got him to be the Witcher.
So they're just changing the casting of, like, what, the main character?
Bad idea.
In season 4 or
the
something?
main character, yeah.
The main character.
Wow.
Yeah.
The main
fucking
appeal.
Crazy.
The thing everyone liked about it.
Is that Netflix?
Yeah. Right? That's Netflix.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that is Netflix. They've killed it, probably.
Just stop the show.
They've had 2 seasons.
just write like a special.
Yeah, a lot of people are watching it for Henry Cavill, right?
They've cancelled like every other show. Like, just call it quits.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
these superhero things are pretty interesting. Yeah, like all the studio stuff. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up.
No problem. We all saw Barbarian. Spoiler discussion for Barbarian because it's not easy to talk about without spoiling it. You can't spell Barbarian without Airbnb. Right?
True. Housing market. Now that's the scariest horror movie around.
True. So where was this set? Detroit?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it made me go on Google Maps and have a look around the area. Because I was just thinking, like, are there many films set in Detroit? 'Cause it seems like such an obvious
8 Mile
place to set. Yeah, man.
What do you think about it?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Good. I enjoyed it too.
Yeah. I didn't quite love it as much as everyone else seems to. I enjoy kind of the weird structure and the whole kind of total shift, like halfway through the movie, like the direction it takes. But it also made me bring up some more questions, like the whole kind of Me Too like character, the Justin Long arc that they go through. I don't know. We can get into it a bit more once we've all said our thoughts, but yeah, it's okay. It's got some fun twists and turns. I like what the Barbarian turns out to be, at least in my opinion, or whatever.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's right.
Not to get into spoilers, I guess quite yet. I mean, I don't know if people have seen it. It's on HBO Max now, so we'll see how it does there.
A lot of people have seen it.
Yeah. Just spoil.
I think it was a pretty successful movie.
I saw it in the theater. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, like, the theater experience was a lot of fun. People seemed really into the movie.
Yeah, it would have been cool to see it with a bunch of people in theaters, but there were only a few in mine.
And I always judge that, but that like people were really into it. They were like, you know, some like they were talking like, holy shit, like, think when things happen.
Yeah.
So like it takes a lot of twists and turns that like you don't expect. It's very unpredictable.
Yeah, it's interesting in that way, and I really respect the movie for what its goals are. I have to sneeze, and this is bugging the shit out of me. Excuse me. All right. It's directed by Zach Kreger, if I pronounced his name right. But have you ever seen The Whitest Kids You Know? It's like a sketch comedy thing.
Oh, that's him.
Yeah, he's one of the members. And so that, to me, that explains why I feel the comedy segments are more well executed than the horror segments. I love that it tried to do both, but I think the comedy is where it really shined.
Yeah, not the horror.
What's the word?
Shining.
Yeah,
I don't know. Sorry, it's like Miss March because they made Miss March. Like that's a comedy, so I guess I see what you're saying.
Miss March.
I think they did
wow,
that.
that's a fucking forever ago.
Yeah,
I never
2009. That's the last thing they made. Yeah, I didn't see it either. No one I know saw it. It got bad reviews when it came out.
It's got a 7 Metascore. That's pretty good.
It's got a 2.0 on Letterboxd or something. 2.1.
Yeah,
2.1.
So I felt like, so the movie's divided into very clear thirds, very clear 3-act structure. First act, fairly standard horror, kind of like spooky. You know, is she gonna be killed by this guy? Why are the weird things happening?
Yeah, is he lying?
Yeah, like kind of horror mystery thing. And that wasn't bad, although the music was so fucking insistent throughout it, and it was kind of annoying. It wasn't bad. It was just like it felt like kind of familiar in that section.
Yeah,
especially.
a couple of lame like jump scares too.
Yeah,
yeah.
sure.
During that section. Yeah.
Act 2 shows along, and it's absolutely hilarious. Justin Long was like the best part of the movie, in my opinion, when he's like measuring the house and just the tone and the editing that went along with this segment, and his whole, I don't know, what's the word, like hubris, or his kind of like cocky attitude. And you know, you start out with the accusation, and then as more information gets revealed, it's like, okay, well, this isn't just like a false accusation thing. You're kind of shitty. Right.
Yeah, he's just an asshole.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like
he's
the
a total
first thing
asshole.
he does when there is the funny like comparison of when the woman main character finds that creepy basement in the room with the bucket and the bed compared to when Justin Long finds it, and he's just like, he instantly Googles like how it affects the house price.
Yeah.
He doesn't even care about
that
what
was
he found.
funny.
Yeah, he's like so out of touch. He's like so unlikable, and it kind of makes you want the big bad to get him in the end. And it does do a good like job with his character, like as he like right at the end where he pushes the woman off the like water tower, really just doubling down and reinforcing what that character is. Like he's pretty just evil all around, to be honest. And that was like the most satisfying angle, like seeing him get demolished by the creepy but weirdly sympathetic mother monster thing. Yeah, it got way more interesting once that monster came in for me, and like where that led with the whole backstory of the serial killer and the timeline shift. And
yeah, I like the
creepy and interesting there. Yeah, and with a bit of like interpretive kind of violence, and it's kind of the inverse of like when we're talking about the Black Phone, where it was like I need a bit more, need some more like cleverness or something to make me really scared of this situation. I feel like they chose much kind of more intelligent, smarter things to show to get across the creepiness of that serial killer, the Barbarian, and what is created with this mother thing, mutant.
I liked where it went with it, but I was kind of unsatisfied with the reveal of the face of the mother, because I felt like it was less intimidating to me at that point. When it was still acting as the monster. It was still acting as like the threat in the scene, but it just wasn't. Something about it just was not super threatening to me, and it's like the design of it would have been better suited for a sketch comedy horror, but in the context of a comedy. Whereas like this has comedy at points in the movie, but in the context of the creature, you're not supposed to find it funny at that moment, except, maybe some of the breastfeeding scenes or something, right? But the design of it was not hitting the right notes for me in terms of like fear or horror.
Yeah, me neither. It wasn't like the end of Wreck or something, where that kind of design a creature is shot in a certain way where just enough is left out of the picture, so it remains kind of obscure and scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't really find much of the horror to be what carried it for me. It was more just like a question of like, what is this house? What is this place? What is kind of the lore of this this mother creature? Yeah, I'm with you with the horror stuff. Not really doing much for me.
What was your favorite part of it, Ralph?
Oh, I really like the whole beginning. You guys are saying like it's kind of like your least favorite part of the movie. I really enjoyed all that stuff at the beginning. That's like what sells it. You don't know where it's going like at all, and it's like there was no way I could predict where it was going. That's what made it so interesting to watch and so like shocking. When shit's like, there's no way you can predict some of these things. It's like crazy.
No, it is a fun build.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun, and yeah, looks great. I just really enjoyed it all around. I thought it was a lot of fun. I really liked the movie. It was really enjoyable. It reminded me of something like Drag Me to Hell, like how I felt watching that. I was like, oh, this is crazy. This is like disturbing. It's got all this like hidden meaning and whatever. And yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. I remember it. It's one of my favorite horror movies I saw this year, probably.
Okay, dope.
Yeah, I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
It reminded me of Drag Me to Hell in the sense that it's a horror comedy and Justin Long's in it also.
Yeah, I guess that too. And it could be like compared to Tusk, but this is much better than
I don't want to think about Tusk.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
It balances the tone. Well, I was just thinking about Tusk. I was thinking about that and like, I don't know. Oh, that's like really what I was thinking about Tusk. Yeah, because he's in it. Like, oh, that's like the last horror thing I've seen him in.
He's a good horror comedy
but he's really good at this movie.
Funny.
Yeah. He's done that a few times. He's always good at it. Yeah. Yeah, I really like the movie. We can get into ratings if you want.
Yeah, I mean, like, really respect the movie for what it was trying to do. But yeah, unlike Drag Me to Hell, I feel like the horror segments it didn't function as a horror movie. It only functioned as a comedy to me. And yeah, there were interesting aspects to it. I just wish it was maybe a bit more polished in the more serious bits or whatever it's trying to sell me as suspense or thriller or whatever. But yeah, I'd recommend it. Really respect it a lot. 5 out of 10.
Yeah. I'm just a little bit above. I'm pretty much right there with you. I just wanted a bit more, one of these things to be more exaggerated in a way that would be a bit more consistent. Yeah, really double down on the horror and make that aspect work cool. Make it more elaborate and comedic, like a Drag Me to Hell type thing. It's enjoyable though. I'm not sure if I'm going to rush back to see it like some of the other kind of recent horror movies, like Men or whatever, that I've enjoyed a lot more.
Yeah.
Ralph, did you give your rating?
No, I would give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. I would definitely say see it in the theater if you can.
Mm-hmm. Some people really hated this movie. It seemed like really polarizing. Some people either thought it was like the best thing ever or the worst thing ever.
I feel like a lot of horror movies get that reaction. You know, like there was the whole controversy about like Logan Paul's reaction to Nope, and you know, like Men had that whole controversial pushback.
Logan Paul had a reaction to Nope. I've not. Do I care enough to ask
It was like a huge drama.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just said it was the worst thing ever.
He saw the movie and he did this whole like chain of tweets about how like it doesn't make sense and how it's like not a very good movie.
That's cool. I couldn't imagine giving a shit about what he has to say about Nope.
Yeah.
Twitter people are funny. Jesus.
Yeah.
Here's a question that I forgot to ask you before we started recording. Has everybody seen Hellraiser? Or is it just me and Alex?
I've seen it.
The new one?
The original one?
The new one.
No, I haven't seen the new one. I need to see the original one. I mean,
it's not really connected, but you can. I would say
okay.
Bump that up on your stuff because I wouldn't mind talking about it. I liked it a lot. I want to hear Alex talk about it too. But yeah, I guess we can talk about the Big Lebowski. Take it away.
Well, so it was my pick for this one, The Big Lebowski, 1998, Coen Brothers. This is kind of one of those movies where describing the plot is like a big fear, like coming up to it. Like, this is like a convoluted kind of movie, a quirky, strange movie, with the premise basically being, what if one of these like private eye, like detective novel type characters or stories is parodied by placing the main character as being this kind of deadbeat stoner who doesn't really know how to achieve anything, is pretty useless and lazy, and the comedy that kind of naturally arrives from that kind of situation. Like the Coens are known for their idiosyncrasies with their characters, and it's kind of that taken to the ultimate extreme in The Big Lebowski, that there are so many characters and so many memorable ones, despite the fact some of them are only on screen for a couple of minutes and they wind up being the most memorable thing about it. But there's more going on than just a silly kind of stoner comedy. Because, you do have the whole film noir parody. You have all the just bizarre concepts that they're slipping in there, like these nihilist characters and getting into the kind of strange philosophical concepps and
the dream sequences,
dream sequences. Yeah, it's a strange, weird movie. Like, I'll never forget this, because I've said this is one of my favorite movies for a long time, and I just got this message from someone once who was like, "So I finally saw The Big Lebowski. This is your favorite? This movie like sucks. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know like what is happening." Or yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily blame someone for that, but I find it to be pretty fascinating. And every time I watch it, I get like a different slant or a new line or something, or a new appreciation for a character or a reference to something I didn't pick up the first time. I'm a big fan of this movie. What about you guys?
I loved it. I had watched it before once when I was much younger, and I don't know what age, but whatever age I was not really able to appreciate it because it didn't really stick with me in any kind of way, and I think maybe the convoluted aspect of it didn't help when I was whatever age I was. I was definitely confused watching it, and I was like, what's everyone's motivation right now? And even watching it this time, like near the end, I was like a little bit confused at some parts, and I had to, figure things out. There is a convoluted aspect to it. But watching it this time, I really got a lot more out of it, and a lot of genuine laughs, a lot of great character moments. It felt like what's that fucking PTA movie with Joaquin Phoenix? The one where he's
Inherent Vice. That
yeah.
one.
It felt like what I wanted Inherent Vice to be.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so much more creative. It's so much more fun.
Yeah,
funny.
I couldn't
Better
actually
use of
finish that
music.
movie.
Like memorable soundtrack. Like you remember the soundtrack. It's got so many great aspects to it. It's so well thought out. Yeah, it's really funny and great. Like the entire cast did a really good job in this.
Mm-hmm.
They were a lot of fun. They gave some of the best performances, like of the year it came out.
It is very much a comedy, but it's almost like a much more mature version of a stoner comedy. And what was funny is they actually, one of the lines in this film was like, "Dude, where's my car?" This came out before "Dude, where's my car?" But it reminded me of that. I'm like, wow, this is in a way, this is like just a much more mature, talented version of that to some degree, with like less obvious things you would do.
So yeah, that's one of the other things I like about it is just how strange it is of a decision that the Coens, after releasing Fargo, mind you, where they got like a ton of critical acclaim, like pretty wide like appreciation, that with that creative freedom that came with that success, they chose to make this like this weird like parody of these old detective stories. And it wasn't like a big commercial or critical hit when it came out. It was one of those slow build, like a cult classic type movies. So I appreciate that that's like the line they chose to go down after like a Fargo, because you'd imagine like more of a natural jump would be going straight to something like No Country. It's like a total like 180. Like the whole reason they wrote Donnie's character to always be like shut down by Walter with the shut the fuck up line was just because Steve Buscemi talks so much in Fargo. So it's just like they just wanted to like inverse and do something completely different. That just makes it stand out in their list of movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, their entire filmography is really interesting because they did have a couple bad ones in there. Let's see.
Yeah, Lady Killers isn't great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that one. I really like a lot of the movies I've seen from them, but this is like up there, like top 2. Like this is one of their best movies. I feel. I really love this movie.
Yeah,
it's like so iconic. Yeah.
This is before Lady
It's shot by Roger Deakins too.
Oh yeah, Lil Deaky.
It's like a beautiful movie. Like there's a great cinematography, like the elaborate like set pieces in the dreams, and like I was looking up some of the technology they used to get all those shots on like the bowling alley of the camera, like tracking right behind the ball or going through people's legs without like compositing or whatever. And they've basically just got this like camera on a remote control skateboard that just like follows it down the alley. And yeah,
there's some really interesting stuff happening here. Really good music by Carter Burwell also. Gonna point that out. And also like there's like enough of the kind of like folk rock sort of stuff that the Coen brothers obviously love to put in there. I like that tone. I like that vibe. I'm a fan of the genre, depending on, the song, obviously. But it's such a weird... It's such a great character movie. I love that everybody kind of reacts in a way that is consistent with their character, but it requires so much talent in terms of writing it, because you never hear the writer's voice so much. You just hear the character's voice, and the vocabulary and the way that sentences are, the way that ideas are communicated by each character is so in tuned, so finely tuned to exactly how they would say it. It's like they've created living, breathing people within their piece of art. I love it.
Yeah, no, the dialogue is insane. It's probably one of the reasons it is one of those kind of sits as one of those cult classic types. It's just so quotable. There's so much good, funny dialogue, and there's such like a variety of these kind of exaggerated characters that everyone's going to attach themselves to a different one. Like, it's so extreme to the point where not only is there like a dude religion or something called a dudism. That's right.
Oh,
but there's also like this. Have you not heard this?
No, please tell.
There's like it's a religion. It's got like 400,000 or 500,000 members.
Okay.
Yeah, just
so
called
like
dudism.
An official religion then.
Yeah, it's a religion, philosophy, or lifestyle inspired by the dude, the protagonist of the Coen Brothers '98 film. Yeah, get ordained for free.
Oh my god!
Yeah. So it's got a pretty kind of fanatical fan base.
It's great.
The other point I was going to reference was, just going into like the characters, I guess, and how memorable people find them. There was like a weird Big Lebowski sequel directed by John Turturro about the character Jesus. I haven't seen it. It doesn't look good, and I didn't think it was supposed to be very good. Let me see if I noted it down. The Jesus Rolls, 2019.
Okay.
Yeah. My mom told me she saw that. She hasn't seen the Big Lebowski.
Oh.
She's like, "This is fucking terrible." Like
she hadn't seen the Big Lebowski, and she saw Jesus Rolls.
No,
John Turturro directed it.
No, because I think it was just on that. Yeah, John Turturro.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like John Turturro made his own spinoff, but she just happened to watch it. She's like, "Oh, it's John Turturro movie or whatever."
It's so bizarre.
And she's like, "Fucking terrible."
But it kind of defeats the point of like what is so good about that character in the original is he's in it for like 2 minutes. That's all you need.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It would be so annoying to watch an entire movie with that character.
Yeah, you don't need that or want that.
Jesus.
A lot of the characters are that way. Like,
I think it's just one scene.
It's like 1 or 2.
He gets two, I think. His like introduction, then the one later where he gets angry for them like changing the date of the tournament.
Yeah. I've seen the GIF a lot. There's a lot of memes from this movie.
Yeah.
There's a many from this movie. Yeah, loads of memes.
Yeah, they're great at writing characters. I think that's why like some of their movies have gotten made into TV shows like Fargo.
I still haven't seen the Fargo show.
Interesting characters. Yeah. Oh, it's interesting. I've seen the first 2 seasons.
It's good, yeah. There's a couple episodes that reference the Big Lebowski too, like mimicking some of that camera work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, their characters are so iconic.
I'm just still looking at dudism here. I'm just...
It's crazy.
You should all get ordained.
Watch the ABC Nightline episode about dudism. Okay. I'll watch this later, I guess. I'm getting too distracted here. This is... I don't think that I have a more favorite Jeff Bridges performance, unless you can name one that I'm forgetting about, but like this one is really into the character for sure.
But he's much better here.
I wouldn't imagine from any other movie that I've ever seen him in, I would never imagine him playing a character like this.
True, actually. Yeah. Even though it is his like defining role in the end.
Yeah. Yeah. And, David Thewlis, high-pitched voice, that was fun.
The video artist.
Oh, yeah. One thing that I was noticing, Philip Seymour Hoffman, he wasn't like a main character. He had a good amount of screen time, but even in the parts where he wasn't speaking, he was giving such good faces, like... When he was sitting in the back of the limo, I wish I could describe this over podcast audio, but if you just go to those scenes in the limo and you'll see like some amazing sort of like reaction faces that he's giving that are not, it's not necessarily what you're supposed to pay attention to in the scene, but he's just like, it's such a weird thing he's doing and it's very funny looking in a good way.
Yeah. I love his delivery during that scene where he first like meets the dude and takes him to that time mirror thing, and he's like trying to gloat about the Big Lebowski. It's just like so like stilted and awkward in like an intentional funny way. Yeah, he's like such a pushover type.
I love that, like, this is again talking about like the consistency of the Coen brothers and how they write their characters. I love that it says so much about Philip Seymour Hoffman's character that not only does he call the dude, but in the way he says it, in the way that he addresses him, it's as if he might as well be saying sir. And he's not doing it in like even a sarcastic way. He's fulfilled the role. He's like, oh, okay, I'm calling you dude now, and I am subservient to the blah, 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 blah. Just like, yeah, it says so much about his character, and it's so consistent with it, just that he decides to do that throughout the entire film. And it's such a tiny little quirks and details that you can find throughout all of their films that just, yeah, they're fantastic writers.
Yeah, it's also what makes it consistently funny.
Yeah.
Because they play it so straight, and it's just the characters interacting with each other in earnest. They're not trying to smirk and wink at the camera. They're just, they do feel like genuine real people, even though they are like exaggerated just enough to make them like interesting to watch. Like Julianne Moore's like feminist artist like character, like laughing with David Thewlis on the phone or throwing paint on this crazy contraption, flinging it through the air. It's all funny from the dude's perspective. He's just like blithering around, like trying to play detective. And that in and of itself is funny, let alone the myriad of characters that get pushed in front of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow.
And it's also, I just like it from the angle of, it's like a main character that basically learns nothing, achieves nothing, only really fails at his goals, and his friend dies.
One of the most unimportant characters ever dies. whose only purpose in the film was basically to die. Just be a third wheel and die.
Even despite like saying that, though, it's like it's utterly compelling. It's so unusual and strange. It is this weird gem, just from this era before they wanted to take it in a different direction. Like, have they attempted like another just full-on comedy without adding in more serious crime elements? Or since this,
Burn After Reading was a comedy. A Serious Man. I mean, I consider that to be quite a comedy, I guess. I don't know. It really depends on how you, because all their movies are so difficult to put into a box in a way. So it's like, it's difficult to categorize them in that way. There's little elements of each.
No Country for Old Men, right? That was very different.
Very different.
Yeah, it's still a great movie. That's like what I think is their other great movie. Those two.
I love No Country.
I mean, yeah, they're so different. They're just so different.
Mm-hmm. Is there no fucking 4K for No Country yet? Jesus Christ.
Really? There is for this movie.
Yeah, I know. I had it for a while. Damn. It's still waiting on so many things. It's so annoying. Give me the things. I want them. So yeah, this was back at a time where, because of, what was it, the Directors Guild? Like, they wouldn't be allowed to be like nominated for Academy Awards or be a part of the guild if they had both of their names credited as directors. So they had to just pick Joel, I guess.
Oh.
Yeah, even though both of them directed it. It just said directed by Joel Coe. You didn't know about that?
No.
Yeah, for a long time.
What does that protect from?
Yeah, it was just a stupid rule that they were... Here, let me look it up. Give me a second.
What was the thinking behind that? What's wrong with having two directors?
I know. Where do I find this? Okay, Directors Guild of America. I gotta find a better source than just people talking about it. All right, well, somebody in the comments section explain it, because I'm not going to go on a deep dive right here, and I'm trying to... My understanding is that because of the Directors Guild of America, their rules at the time was that you could only have one person credited as director. So even though both of them directed, they weren't both credited until like No Country or something. because that's when they would have changed their rules, or maybe they left whatever guild that was. But yeah, somebody in the comments give me a good source for that, because I don't want to just repeat rumors, but that's my understanding.
Very silly.
What was your favorite quote?
I'm a big fan of Walter and all his references to Nam.
Oh yeah.
Basically every single scene with him, he'll make it be about Vietnam, even when there's no link at all. That's often where like that's just one of the funnier dynamics, to be honest. Is there's basically always an argument between Walter and the dude, because I don't even know like how they even became friends, because they're just like so always at each other's throats. Over like this issue, and they're completely inverse ways of approaching it.
Because he's a stoner and he doesn't have any money. Just like that's how he lives.
And there's just like so many funny little details. Like Walter, he actually like he keeps making guesses about like the truth of what's happening, like to Bunny or whatever, and he's like guessing correct, which is like a funny detail. Like, most of his guesses are correct up until where the one he proclaims the most confidence in, that being the Big Lebowski not actually being disabled, and then that whole farce that he causes. Yeah, a lot of the drama is actually just purely a result of him being around, like fucking up the
he's the conflict
with the gun. Yeah, he's hilarious though. He's like has to be there.
I love that character conceptually, and it feels like a very real thing. Of like some big tough guy who's like kind of fat, just constantly packing, like constantly trying to come up with excuses to use their gun, just being like, no, because and just reminding themselves that like, no, I'm a vet or whatever. It's like no matter what they did in the war, but just needing to feel like they're always back in the war for some reason, like that's the only purpose that they've had. It's like those people exist. Not saying that there's like a huge amount of them, like they definitely exist. When
he's got like this undying loyalty to his ex-wife, which is like a funny detail where he's looking after her prized dog, or he like insists that you can't roll on Shabbos, because he's Jewish, which he converted to. For there's a really funny humor that comes from that.
Ralph, do you have a favorite quote?
Oh my god, I don't know.
There's so many, I know.
The whole scene with Lenny. This is what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass. Yeah, that was funny. It's pretty funny.
I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed this one particularly because it's not in the pop culture as much. Like I don't see it memed as much, so this one was a bit more of a surprise. She's not my special lady. She's my lady friend. I'm just helping her conceive, man.
I know like, that one's really funny.
Just such a funny setup to that. Like so many bizarre things happening in this movie.
The whole new shit has come to light, like speech he has in the back of that car to the Big Lebowski and Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah,
that part's always like really got me real good. That's like my most vivid memory watching it the first time when I was like, I don't know, like 10, 11. I pop in the VHS in, and I was just losing it by that point. I'd like never seen like comedy quite like this at that age, so it was, I don't know, it like really sits there in my head. Really memorable.
When did you first watch it?
I think I've told this story before. I was on like some holiday with my mum somewhere, like staying in like a bed and breakfast, and they just had a bunch of VHSs in the room. One of them was The Big Lebowski, and I asked my mum about it, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that's funny." I just watched it and lost my shit. Even though, like, as you say, like 70% of it probably went over my head, but there's something like magical about it. That's one of my like favorite kind of movie memories.
That's great. Yeah, that's awesome. I think the biggest arc in the film is probably John Goodman's character like apologizing at the end, like after the ashes of in the Folgers tin, which was so perfect.
And they go to Ralph's.
Yeah, a lot of iconic locations from like LA. Like you definitely recognized it, which was really cool. Like he's in a Ralph's at the beginning. That's like a supermarket that's there.
Oh yeah.
Like I lived there for a bit. That's where I went. And then like I don't know. Like they drive by a Del Taco. It's like this little shit like that you pick up on. Like it really informs the setting, and that informs the characters.
But
and like how they act.
opening scene in the supermarket, that's another one that gets me, where he's like writing out a check for 69 cents for just like one carton of milk. Like it totally establishes that character and everything he stands for, like without anyone saying anything. And that's also coupled with that narration.
Oh yeah.
Like the narrator is like, he just like loses his train of thought, like in the intro. Like he just doesn't even know what he's talking about, which again just totally sets like the tone and the kind of rambly nature of it. And like, don't expect this to really make sense or like resolve in any way you'd expect from like a regular kind of movie.
Los Angeles. The way he says things. He's the man. He's the dude. Sometimes there's a man. A dude. It's just who was that? Like that's Sam Neill or somebody? What was his name?
Yeah. His scenes are great. Yeah.
There's a funny like behind the scenes thing I found on YouTube where they were talking about him and like how he just didn't understand really like what was happening like on set or like in the story.
It was Sam Elliott. I always confuse the name Sam Elliott and Sam Neill.
Oh,
Sam Neill's Jurassic Park. Jesus Christ. I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
So I was finding like new humor watching it this time, just imagining like Sam Elliott just trying to like figure out like what is going on, like because those are like some weird abstracts. He's like, he doesn't really like exist. He like goes meta. He addresses the audience like right at the end, and he's like, he knows things that you couldn't possibly know without just not existing outside of the story, like Maud being pregnant with his kid and just random stuff like that. It's like time freezes when he's there and he just like just gets abstract for a second.
Yeah, sure. It's like his inner monologue, whatever, the dude's inner monologue in the way. Or like a point of view character. Yeah, he's awesome in the movie. Great performance. Yeah, he's great in a few movies. He's great in A Star Is Born too. It came out like recently, so like he's still doing stuff. He's in Ghost Rider, of course. He's in Tombstone. Tombstone's a great movie. So yeah, he's got a lot of good roles. Sam Elliott. He's in Roadhouse. That's right. I just saw it on Netflix. I didn't watch the movie. I saw it like while I was scrolling through. I don't know. I don't have much else to say about it. Like, I feel like people love this movie and have like analyzed the shit out of it and have their own meaning. Like, it has a cult following. Like, people love this movie. So like, I don't know what else I could add to it aside from that. Yeah, it's like really great movie.
Yeah,
it's a really epic and it's some epic storytelling. It's great characters. Looks great because of Roger Deakins. And everything's funny. Every scene is great. You remember it. You want to see the next scene. It just keeps moving, and see, it's so much fun. It's really funny.
Yeah, so dense of characters, and all of them so memorable. Whether it be the landlord who does his like theater on the stage, or the cab driver who gets into a little tussle with the dude because he's like playing the Eagles, and he was like whinging in the back of the cab. That scene always gets me too.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Or the nihilist screaming that it's not fair because their whole plan like goes wrong. It's like really funny stuff. It really tickles me. It's really clever, all the dialogue and everything. I think after seeing it as many times as I have now, I think I understand the plot. I think I finally wrapped my head around like what every thread. Like. Most of it has like no real like meaning, but it's fun that it's like so much going on.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to mention, there is a 4K of Fargo.
Fargo.
They did Fargo.
The film?
Yeah, not No Country. Yeah. No, the film.
Okay. Awesome. I will add that to my list. Thank you so much.
That should be a good one.
Yeah, Fargo is also great.
Yeah, but No Country.
Yeah, give me
Which
that
there needs
No
to be.
Country for Old Men
Yeah.
4K. What the fuck? Give me Kill Bill already. What the fuck? Come out with whatever Quentin Tarantino package you need to. It's so annoying. So yeah, there's a wiki. There's a section on the wiki for this film titled "Use as Social and Political Analysis," and I'm not going to get into it. And I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to pretend like I had these ideas beforehand. I'm just going to say that could be an interesting read at some point for anybody who wants to delve into that. But who knows? It might just all be bullshit. So, yeah, love the movie. I would definitely watch it again. I'm not rushing to see it again. I'm not white Russian to see it again. But
Nice.
but yeah, I'll keep the 4K Blu-ray and I will put it on again sometime. Love the movie. 9 out of 10.
You ever had a White Russian?
Me? Does the Pope shit? Like, I don't know what. Yes, I've had a white Russian.
Oh, you like it? The big, yeah. What do you think?
They're great. You don't need to. I kind of bastardize it sometimes. I do my own thing where I'm like,
What do you do to it?
Well, so it's no longer a white Russian. I'm not going to pretend it's a white Russian anymore. But I'll do Kahlua and like silk, like soy milk, and those. And then you don't like. I don't feel like you really need vodka unless you really you want to get drunk more quick, because the vodka doesn't add anything to the taste other than just like the boozy taste. It soaks up the other taste. And then sometimes if I'm feeling a little extra fancy, I'll do like a splash of Bailey's or like a Luxardo maraschino cherry. But yeah, the standard white Russian's good too. But
see, that sounds good. Yeah,
you can do it with whipped cream sometimes.
It's okay. There's just something. There's something about the milk aspect that.
Oh yeah,
I just kind of gutturally disagree with.
He never seems to refrigerate it.
Yeah, I can imagine him using like the warm, tepid room temperature milk.
Or he's just drinking so much of it that he drinks it before it expires. But he does sniff it a couple times, meaning that has become an issue at some point. He just leaves it out in the open. He doesn't put it back in a fridge. It's milk. You were saying you just don't like the milk aspect of the drink?
There's something, it doesn't sit right with me, combining milk with alcohol. I just picture like...
It's a classic drink.
I know, yeah. I've had it a few times, but something about that milk, man. And maybe with the substitute you used, it's less, would bother me less, but I don't know.
Well,
yeah, I haven't had it.
You can order one at a bar. It could be milk, or it could be like heavy cream also. Cream is also an acceptable. I think cream might be the official ingredient. But,
okay.
Yeah. Cream, vodka, Kahlua, and then whatever variation you want to make. But he does drink a beer at one point too. He doesn't only drink a white Russian. He drank a beer while he was driving.
Oh yeah.
I remember that.
The lanes.
Yeah. That was a good scene. I love when he crashed.
Like, have you guys ever been to like a bowling alley like the ones in this movie?
Yes.
All the ones I've been to, they're way more like kind of neon and gross, and like way more geared to kids with the. Yeah.
Yeah, they exist.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Ones that have bars
There's
in
something
them.
quite romanticized about it. Yeah, there's something like really like 90s time capsule with the whole aesthetic of the alley and just what they're talking about, basically. And
I feel like there's plenty of places
leftovers.
in America where that thing still exists today. I don't even think that that's as much of a 90s time capsule as you think it is.
oh right, okay.
Yeah, just depends where you are, I guess. What would you give it? I can probably guess your rating.
Yeah, I mean it's easy for me. Like it's always going to be a 5-star for me. Yeah, I've always loved this one. I just find more things each time I rewatch it. You know, I'm pretty floored by how you would write something like this, where this character doesn't even get his rug back by the end. Like it's all just a wrong place, wrong time type story that I don't know. It just gets better the more times I see it. I'm still not sick of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ralph, did you give
I
your
loved it. No, yeah, I gotta give it a 5 out of 5. I mean, this movie's a masterpiece. It's so good. It's really funny, and yeah, everything we've been saying. I mean, I really just love this movie. I could watch it. I could watch it again.
All right. We did it.
Woohoo! Yeah.
I'll watch it again for sure. It's awesome. I love it. Maybe I'll give it a 10 next time. You never know.
We've done so many Coens now. So many
Have we?
movies. Yeah, right?
And we've discussed
If we're
a lot of Coens?
Yeah.
Yeah, Man with No Name, right? Is that what's
Man with No Name.
And then
I guess it wasn't a recommendation, but Buster Scruggs.
okay.
Yeah.
Now this one.
I was going to say, it doesn't
There's
seem like
many
we've
other
done that
great
many
ones.
officially.
Yeah, many other great ones they've made.
Yeah.
Like Llewyn Davis, Inside Llewyn Davis, and yeah, Fargo.
Yeah, we'll wait for fucking No Country to actually come out on 4K. What the fuck? The 4K Blu-ray
Yeah,
for the Big
No
Lebowski
Country.
looked good though.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it did.
All right.
Here we go.
I guess we could do questions, but I think we have a little bit of time. If Alex, you want to talk with me briefly about the Lord of the Rings show, and Ralph, I guess you've seen a few
Yes.
episodes. We asked Ralph at the beginning if he minded us talking about it, if we were going to spoil anything.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I'm good, guys. You're
you're not too attached to it.
You know, I'm not digging what's happening so far.
What is there to really spoil anyway? I suppose there's a couple reveals towards the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like things slip out. Whatever.
Rings of sorry. The full title is The Lord of the Rings of Power.
Ooh,
Yeah,
mouthful.
subtitle.
So how many episodes did it take you guys to kind of figure out, oh, right, it's kind of one of these, it's this level?
Mhm.
As in just it's bad?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was from the beginning. I felt like it was pretty consistent throughout. I watched this with my roommate, my good friend Gael, and he's a huge Lord of the Rings nerd, and so I just got to watch him die inside throughout the experience. But he had this inkling of hope near the beginning in the first couple episodes. He's like, yeah, well, I mean, it's just setting things up, and then, eventually things will happen. I'm like, I don't think things are going to... I think this is going to do this for the whole show. I think this is just going to be the whole show. And then I pretty much turned it... Yeah, it turned out to be right. It was just...
I had a little tiny bit of misplaced hope as well. I thought, I can forgive something for being slow if it goes somewhere, but then it it really doesn't go anywhere. It's so weird because I was not expecting it to lean into the wanting to exist in the Peter Jackson kind of cinematic universe as much as it clearly does and wants to. It wants to have that kind of epic grandeur with the the sweeping shots of the armies and especially the heart. They've written it in this weird kind of mimicry sort of way where characters kind of have the intonation and they're speaking about things that should be emotional, kind of like the way they come across in those original movies, but that they just ring hollow. It's just like, so it's like you're doing basically the same kind of arcs from those movies, but I guess because you don't have the rights to the Silmarillion, there's not much room for you to really do anything, but you have to make a prequel show. So what's it going to be about? and they chose the lamest, most predictable, boring path to take, which is just all the things you like hobbits, right? You like Gandalf, you like Mordor. Let's just do that again.
Everyone has a parallel character to someone in the original Lord of the Rings. So the girl Hobbit, and then her friend, that's obviously Frodo and Sam, her friend sidekicks, slightly chubbier too. And then you got the other dwarf guy who's obviously supposed to be Gimli. Then you got the guy who's obviously supposed to be Aragorn. And it's just when you start noticing these things throughout the show, and you're just oh, come on. Yeah, you have full freedom to tell whatever story you want to tell. You can tell it in the Lord of the Rings universe, but you can tell whatever story you want to tell. You have so much freedom here, and you're resorting to just rehashing the same characters and then just doing nothing with them and feeling like the audience is supposed to admire and empathize with these characters just solely from the fact that they are somewhat similar or that they're supposed to be similar to characters in the Jackson film. It's so embarrassing. It's like, how do you spend $1 billion fucking dollars on this shit? It's so embarrassing. These showrunners were like completely inexperienced and hadn't really worked on anything before. And Amazon was like, let's just give them all this money.
No, I was shocked by that.
And you will just, hopefully it'll just turn out right.
Yeah, because I was looking at their IMDb
Amazon.
saying, the showrunners Patrick McKay and John D. Payne. One of them is credited for like Star Trek Beyond. Well, they both are. But that's it. That's all they'd done before. That just seems just crazy to me. You're throwing around these kind of sums of money. It just shows how little they care about the like writing aspect, even though like especially for big shows like this, that is the heart of it. If you lose the writing, then you saw what happened with like Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. It's everything with these big fantasy epics. It's like the heart.
Yeah.
And it's just such a strange decision for them to do that. Yeah, sure, like for some projects, like it's fun to have like a new voice, a new kind of, maybe they thought they were gonna like mimic the whole Peter Jackson situation or something. But even then, he had a history. He had a bit of a history before he was picked for Lord of the Rings. So, like,
true.
No matter like which angle I look at it from, like that is just so confusing to me. And they were like saying that all this, by the big twist, you guys you're gonna change your mind, and everyone like in the in the community or whatever, it boiled down to this theory of like, who's Sauron?
Yeah, like
where is he? And it's like revealed on like the 6th or 7th episode.
Yeah.
And it's just like, really? Like you've already like blown that whole thing. You could have had such like an intrigue build up, or it just doesn't really care about the characters. It's really weird. It's like so plot led. The characters just like, they just don't do anything. They're so like irrelevant and unmemorable.
The plot meanders for so long, just doing nothing, and you expect these payoffs. And I guess spoiler discussion for if you haven't figured that out, anybody listening, spoiler discussion. So like, there's characters that will show up in an episode only to die in the same episode, and then the main characters that you actually get don't die ever. And just it's only like new disposable main characters that ever die. They just show up. They're like, oh, I'm being developed slightly now, and then they're like, oh, and they don't even just get a death. They get like a slow motion, like oh, and then someone's like hugging them as they die. It's like, okay, dude, like, am I supposed to feel something here? Like you're copying and pasting the apex, the climax, the culmination of events from other source material, like the first films. You're copying and pasting that without realizing that only ever worked because of everything before that. You're taking what should be the end result of something and forgetting to get all of the steps that are required to get there in order for it to be effective. It is so completely unearned, everything that they do in this show. And it's so clear that they're trying to get that same emotional result, but they just don't know how to do it because they're fucking stupid.
Yeah, I really thought they were going to try and go for their own thing, their own style, try and detach them. Like, why would you want to compare yourselves or try and be that same level as those Peter Jackson movies? Like, you're screwed from the get-go. Like, unless he's doing it or he's involved somehow, you're just fucking yourself. Like, why did they choose that? It's like the dumbest angle they possibly could have taken, and they went with it. Yeah, I guess through the whole thing, it is really slow and really boring. But there were a couple of things I did wind up liking at least a little bit that I saw some potential in. I didn't mind the whole like the dwarf stuff with the
Mithril.
I can't remember his. Yeah, well, even then, like I don't really like where that goes. But some of the like scenes with the rituals and the conversations they had, that was like the only conflict where I was kind of getting a little bit more. But even then, it's like an unearned like friendship that. You don't really see any of beforehand, and I don't know. It's like grasping at straws at a certain point. And like it's so boring, and you're like so desperate for there to be some kind of like central antagonist or force, like personified. So I liked when that kind of villain character came in. But again, he's kind of sidelined pretty quick.
Yeah.
Everything like potentially interesting it brings up, it just gets rid of.
Nothing's properly developed.
Something else.
There's no satisfaction like, to things building up over time because the structure just doesn't care.
Yeah, it simultaneously rushes through everything, but also is just plodding and boring, and seems like it isn't moving.
Yeah,
it's so frustrating.
Like Galadriel's supposed to be the main character, I guess. She doesn't do barely. She barely does anything for the first half of the show.
And she's just wildly unlikable.
Yeah.
Not that she has to necessarily be likable if that's the intention, but it just becomes frustrating and meandering after a while. It's just frustrating to watch.
Those three demon thing. I don't even remember what they are. They're weird.
Oh.
The people that look kind of art students.
Yeah. I know exactly.
Those three. Yeah, and then they show up, and they're all of a sudden this big villain thing that wasn't established. They were not there before, and then within one or two episodes, within basically an episode, they're taken care of, and it's treating it as this big triumphant, we finally got rid of them, as if it's you weren't established. They weren't a threat until just recently, really. So why are you pretending through this music and through oh my god, the music felt like it didn't match with what was being shown visually for so many of the scenes. There would be this big burr, 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 grandiose sort of thing. It's dude, it's just where's the wide shot? You're implying something so much different than the music is communicating. And the person that did the music, apparently they've done some good stuff here and there before, not as great with film, I guess, but they honestly, it's weird because in the opening title sequences they got Howard Shore, and then for the rest of the show they just got someone else. And the opening title sequences, it's oh wow, it feels like Lord of the Rings music. And then the rest of the show, it's oh god, what is this? It's so it's not that it's different, it's the fact that it's trying to be the same and failing. Mm-hmm. If they were going for something different and just decided to do something different, then great. But that's that's the whole show. It's you're trying to get the same beats and trying to do the same things while it's just unearned and embarrassing. It's so cringe. I hate it.
Yeah, one of the ways they wanted to separate this from Peter Jackson's is, I guess, the music. That's a huge way. Okay, we're gonna distance ourselves from the Peter Jackson one by not having the same kind of music beats, and that's just something I noticed. It's just none of that, but the music's one of the best parts of the Peter Jackson films. I didn't even know Howard Shore did the opening. Yeah, the opening was fun.
Yeah, I think they just hired someone that was cheaper. I think that's probably what was happening. It's probably more expensive to get Howard Shore to do the whole show. Maybe he wasn't available as long.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It would have helped the show if it was Howard Shore, honestly. The opening title music is better than the rest of the music in the show. So.
Yeah. But I mean, it just would have ultimately been a waste if that's the story they wanted to go with. Because now at the end of season 1, it's well, you've kind of used a lot of the kind of potential drama up now. You've wasted and just run through all this material you could have done something cool with. What? Are you really going to go down the whole Gandalf origin story?
That's
path?
So funny. Gael was so mad.
It really was yeah, it's just making me think of all those movies where they just take a character and they just show too much. They just take the wrong angle with it. It's just is that really what we're boiling this down to? It's the crowd cheer Gandalf moment. That's really not what I was looking for from a show like this. I'm Matt, where is there to take it? What are you gonna do?
So
we've seen the best part of the story.
I don't know where you can take it.
At the end of episode 7, where they get the title to show up of like, what was it, like I don't remember the first title, but then it like fades out and it comes back and it says Mordor, and then not only do they do that, and not only is it like this weird cringe moment where like I guess they're expecting to be people to go like, dude, Mordor or some shit, like I don't know what they're expecting, but like they end the episode that way. That was like the end of that was like the apex. That was like their climax of like Mordor, dude. It says Mordor.
Just a fan service moment for everyone watching.
Nobody was happy with it. That was just so cringe. It was so embarrassing. Also, like all of the titles, all of the font that they're using has this weird sort of like faded border shit that just looks it looks outdated somehow. Like I don't understand what they're doing with it. Mm-hmm. It looks like unclean and just weird. Like I don't know how to describe it. It's an awful font. Every time a title shows up.
Yeah, it honestly seems like they fucked it. Like they paid all this money for this license and this big 4 season plan for this mega show it's Jeff Bezos' Game of Thrones. That's what I've always heard. It's like his motivation for this shit. And it's like, well, this is what's happened. Like, how do you follow this up? Like they haven't like really mentioned anything about people loving this or tuning in to watch it. Like they'd love to do.
Yeah.
Like it's just is it a success? I don't really know. Are they going to still do a season 2 despite the lukewarm reception?
Did anybody sign up for Prime to watch this show? Like, it's
probably not.
It's on your Amazon thing. Like you already have people with Prime Video or
people have it for shopping already. People already have Prime.
Exactly. No one's signing up to watch this. What were they thinking? Why did they want to do this?
They spent a lot on advertising too. Like they really pushed this shit everywhere. Every single like webpage.
It's like on the boxes of the packaging.
Yeah, it didn't come together well.
So where do they get that confidence from? Like they think this was going to be like just the new thing. Like and airing it at the same time, like Game of Thrones, like basically comes back and people kind of like it more. Terrible timing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's how many fantasy shows can you watch like at once? Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're just inviting comparison then too. It's like one is like character led, more what you want, a bit darker, and then you look at Rings of Power and it's like, well, you're really not doing anything here, anything of import. In fact, you're just kind of annoying a load of like fans using this IP and the expectations that come with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were teasing like the Balrog as well. Like that was like the end of one of the episodes. Like it's just all the shit all the imagery from the movies. Like that has to be explained.
Balrog.
You need to know where Mithril comes from.
Wow.
Balrog.
Wow, dude, Balrog. I just want to mention, Ralph, if you continue watching this, I want you to there's a really
I probably will.
You will? Okay. The way you tell if someone's a main character is if they look dirty or not, basically. Like there'll be if you see someone, it's like, they're just clearly standing out from the crowd and they look like clean and make-upped, and everybody else looks like dirty as shit. Everybody else looks like a villager, like fucking like everybody, just the characters that just happen to look like royalty, even though the character doesn't say like that they are. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Only dirty characters here are good guys.
It feels like visually the way that they cast it and the makeup and like all the characters, it feels like a Saturday Night Live parody of The Lord of the Rings. It doesn't feel like
it
The Lord of the Rings. It really does.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like $1 billion. No, not at all. Not even the slightest. House of the Dragon looks more expensive, even though it's cheaper.
Yeah.
It's just like how you use it.
The production's so much better in that show over this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, things in here just look fake. And yeah, they try to like really get you with like those landscapes and
But even then it's like, what good is it if you have all this money to throw around like special effects? Like, it's just not in service of anything.
Yeah.
Just like nostalgia for Lord of the Rings.
Completely uninspired.
The amount of people that think they can just throw money at art and get something good out of it.
Yeah.
It's so funny. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. But there's such an influx at the moment of just pure content because of all this like streaming wars. So we're just getting shit like this. But like, there's not that many writers. It's one of the hardest parts. Like that's why there's not that many good ones available. Like all the talent's just been sucked up.
Yeah.
Well, like who would actually want to work on this, like and exist in those shoes, of the looming Peter Jackson films, like always there in the background, like for every decision. Like who would want to step into that unless they want to take it a crazy different direction? Just everything about it's just so dim.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I gave it a 3 out of 10. I found this to be worse than the Halo show. I don't know how you feel about that.
That's like the best comparison. Yeah, Halo.
The Halo show was like really bad, but also like I don't know. It hasn't really existed in that space in the same way that like the Lord of the Rings has. It's like a different set of expectations. So the Halo show being shit and bad and funny is less upsetting to me than this Lord of the Rings show that's supposed to be this huge, big budget, like professional movie quality, like production.
The Halo show is kind of trying to be shit. The Halo show is kind of trying to be shit, whereas this was trying to be like something good. That's crazy.
And the way it treats itself with like unearned gravitas, like just gets more and more frustrating as it goes along. It really thinks it is like Peter Jackson tier of like this much heart, this much like charisma and these character dynamics and the fun whimsy of it all, but it's like, it just doesn't work. It's so like stilted and awkward and like a wolf in sheep's clothing.
We found ourselves saying the word unearned like, I don't know, 8 times an episode. Where it just became, we realized we were saying the word so often that it's just like there could be no better word to describe the show. Is just unearned. Everything about it, unearned.
Oh, definitely. That is the word for it. And there's just like nothing memorable about it. Like the dialogue, like I can hardly remember anything. Like
I'm surprised you remember the characters' names even, because I didn't know anity.
I watched it with a Lord of the Rings nerd who was explaining everything the entire time. It was pretty good. I had my nerd watch along.
Yeah, it's just another one where it's like, who's this for? If it's not for like Lord of the Rings fans, it's not for the Peter Jackson movie fans.
Exactly.
I guess it's just
for nobody.
Yeah.
All right, question time?
Yeah, I don't know about a rating, but let's do some questions. If you want to leave your own questions for us to answer in the future, head over to the suggestion thread on the subreddit, just like Butter467 did, who says, recently it was announced that Avatar, The Way of the Water will be 3 hours and 10 minutes long. Similarly, the new Damien Chazelle film, Babylon, will be 3 hours and 8 minutes long. It seems as of recently we're seeing films of longer runtimes appear more often. My question is, does the length of a film determine how you guys rate a film, or does it not matter to you?
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's just like a recency bias thing. Like there's been long films forever. Depends on what movies you watch, I guess. Like do you only watch movies that are just like big things in theaters? Like, and even if that is the case, like are there more 3-hour plus films in theaters now than there were 10 years ago? I don't know.
Well, I feel like, there used to be this incentive, maybe like 10-ish kind of years ago, for your big like Hollywood action movies or whatever to be basically as short as possible so you can play it more times in a day.
Yeah.
But then just over the years, like the runtimes like started getting more and more bloated with these big like special effects set piece like Transformers type movies, where now we're getting like the Snyder cut or whatever, which is like 6 hours long or something. I can't even remember.
Feels like it. No, I think it's 3 hours. Really? Maybe 4. It's like 3.5 maybe. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I don't really care about the runtime as long as you justify it. That's my whole thing. Like if you feel like your movie needs to be 3 hours long to accomplish what you want to do, go for it.
Yeah, sorry, it's 4 hours. Yeah, crazy. The Snyder cut.
Yeah, it's weird because it was like a big post on Reddit. Like Damien Chazelle's new movie is 3 hours and 10 minutes long. I'm like, I don't understand how that's news. Like you can just do people not But before I see a
Yeah.
movie, I just look it up on IMDb. Like, would people not have that information before seeing it unless they saw it on Reddit? Like, dude, I guess most people just don't look things up about anything beforehand.
It's 3 hours long.
If I had to guess, probably.
Maybe.
Like, if it was like 5 hours long, then that would be interesting. 3 hour long movie is not
people
like
are that uninformed.
yeah, that's not like that crazy at all.
Yeah, Damien Chazelle and James Cameron, I really like those directors. I would watch a 3 hour movie from them.
Yeah.
For sure.
Let's see what the runtime, what was La La Land runtime? It was like 2 hours.
Over
or something,
2
right?
hours. Yeah.
2 hours, 8 minutes. Okay. So yeah, longest film.
Yeah.
So that's like somewhat notable, I guess. But then, yeah, James Cameron, like, that's not news. Of course it's going to be 3 hours.
Yeah, it's kind of what I expected from, an Avatar sequel,
I
right?
thought like one of those like Avengers movies was 3 hours plus.
Yeah.
Wasn't Endgame, like, or at least was close to
Yeah.
it. Like, yeah, it's been going on a while.
Yeah. This is crazy.
127 hours. Now that's a runtime.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What was the question?
It was just more about like the length of a film determining how you rate it, or does it not matter?
If the pacing can be great or shit, no matter how long the movie is. I've watched things that were 5 minutes long that felt like an hour. I've watched things that were like 5 hours long that felt like an hour, so.
Okay. Let's do this one from Messy Burrito 3. Alex has several hour-long videos covering the Destiny games and their expansions. What are some non-film related topics that Adam and Ralph could make in-depth videos about? Is there like a game you would ever consider or think you could do like a big like YMS or Ralph the Movie Maker type video on?
I think that the Halo 2 campaign is kind of shit compared to the first one. And people are like, why do you think that? It's like, I have a lot of things to say about it, but I don't know if I'd ever go through the effort of doing that when I'm so busy already. It just seems like, to create another channel? Like, what do I do?
You've done like videos on TV shows.
Yeah.
And that's like not in the name. You could do it on a game, surely, innit?
Yeah.
Games are like so cinematic now anyway. Like,
yeah, I've reviewed some things that are less cinematic than video games are now. Yeah, like the Bigfoot shows or whatever, like shit like that. A video game's a step up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I had to do one recently, that Last of Us was pretty disappointing. Maybe I could do one on the second one. Just because it's so like, we talked about it before. Yeah, it's like so disappointing, like how they tackled that, because it's just like there's just so many poor decisions in that game. I was just like, why? Like I was basically just slogging through it. Like I was playing it, but I was not engaged like at all. In like the story, aside from like clicking things on my control. Like I guess this is something I could do to like fill an hour. But yeah, I was so not interested in what was happening. It's like the worst writing. And like Twitter people are like, oh, it was woke or whatever. Like it's not even really that. Like it's like so bland. Like it's so boring. It does nothing new. Like the way the first one did.
It was narratively unsatisfying, and not even.
Yeah, but the first one was so satisfying, and like the character stuff, and like Ellie's like relationship in the DLC and all that. It's like, wow, this is like really engaging shit. Like this is really well written, and really beautiful at times. And
they threw it away for what didn't seem like
for shock value.
Basically.
For a bad idea. Yeah, it just pissed everybody off, like for no reason.
Gonna subvert your expectations.
Yeah, I don't know what they think about that.
Such corny writing. Yeah. I don't know what it is with Naughty Dog recently, whether it's that or the movies, like the Uncharted movie. Like that was so poorly written. Surely they could have had some influence.
I mean, I don't know how much I'm going to blame Naughty Dog for the Uncharted movie.
Surely they could have gotten to like get at least a draft of the script.
You don't know why you'd want to get a better writer. Yeah,
get them to write it or something.
Like,
that would have at least been an appeal.
Yeah, because at least for this HBO show, I'm pretty sure Neil Druckmann's like writing on it. So
Yeah, exactly.
or showrunner.
They could have done that with Uncharted.
If I were Naughty Dog, I would also fart out the Uncharted movie. Like, who gives a shit? It shouldn't even be as soon as Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg are cast, you don't want to put any effort into it. Like, it's a waste from that point on. Like,
maybe it was the same people.
Yeah.
Oh
but
man.
You know what? People like that movie. It's going to get a sequel. It made lots of money.
Maybe, yeah. Tom Holland.
Hopefully the sequel is better.
It's Mark Wahlberg, man.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
I've always thought it would be interesting, or I don't know, these are just kind of like things that may not ever happen, of just, I think maybe could happen in the future, but I would have to like change around what I'm doing. But like, there's a lot of like philosophy that I'm really interested in. But the problem is, like, as much as I like talking about it, a lot of people on the internet are most people are yearning for some like hard answers on things, but I like to ask questions and sort of, I guess, just think about things or like explore my thoughts without any real, like, I talk about how the human brain works, but I don't have like a background in like neuroscience or anything, right? Like, I'm not like educated in a science aspect, but the way that people think, you know, like the philosophical aspect of thinking about thinking, the metacognition, you know, being introspective about it, and like, why do we think this, or why do we think this, or how does it blah 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 blah. Like, I love thinking about that, but then it's like the challenge of ever putting that into a video form is like probably more complicated than any other video, and I've made some complicated fucking videos. Like, so I don't know if that'll ever happen, but like, I've been almost tempted to, like, I don't know, make a little vlog on like certain subjects or something, but then it's like, fuck, do I open like MS Paint and do I do the crazy like cork and chalkboard shit, like whiteboard, and look like a maniac as I'm talking? Like, what do I do? Yeah, I've been tempted to do that. At one time I was there's some things that I'm like, there's like conspiracy theories, much like the Kimba conspiracy that existed. And I went through hell and back basically just debunking it and going through like every nook and cranny, being like, okay, no, this is easily explained by this. This is like, you blah, 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 blah. This is a misconception, blah, 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 blah. And there's things that I see in real life that have much more serious real life political consequences than Kimba. Where it's like, I can see the exact same things with like the election conspiracy shit, where I'm just like, okay, you don't like all the shit that people are sharing about this, like, it's so easily debunkable, and all you would need is like a comprehensive video detailing like every single argument. But another problem is like, not only would it take so much effort to do that, and I feel confident that I could do that because, you know, the Kimba thing, like, if I put my effort into something, I can obviously do that over time. But there's still people on my Kimba video that are obviously so attached to emotionally attached to whether or not the Lion King stole from Kimba, that they have made that a part of their identity. If I were to do that with something as contentious as like American politics, I don't think that I'd be changing that many minds. Kimba is something where like a lot of people just didn't care about, and they just heard about it and they were like, oh, okay, I heard about this thing, I didn't really look into it. And so it's easy to change people's minds that way. But people are so heavily emotionally attached to their political identity, and they'll be willing to just say like, I'm not going to believe this because that would give the other side a win or something. And that would, like, it is worth it in the long run to not, you know, be honest about this and blah, 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 blah. It's just like, so it's something I'm probably never going to do. And I don't even like, yeah, it's never going to happen. Because like, what channel would I even publish that on? I don't like making political content. You know, I don't like making videos that are like, you know, everybody just gets so fucking annoying about it.
It gets ugly. That's the thing with the political content.
Assholes.
Like, it gets like vicious.
Yeah,
it gets really like personal. I
said like one of Elon Musk's Twitter decisions were cringe. I upset I upset people. Some people, most people seem to be fine with it, but there are some people that are like, holy shit. Like, someone I'm not even gonna say what they did because that would just give them attention. Yeah, but yeah, holy shit.
Yeah.
like legitimate threats. Like,
But people get like aggressive enough on like movie opinions, you know, that don't matter, let alone like like political stuff that like is a pressing like cultural issue or whatever it may be.
It's funny that Elon Musk turned into a political symbol now. And now it's like, oh, I'm gonna pay
Really
$8 for Twitter verification to own the libs. Like that's a thing now. like I'm gonna give a billionaire $8 a month. I'm gonna give the richest man in the world $8 a month for something that's basically useless, just to own the libs.
But yeah, aren't there only like 300,000 like verified accounts or something? Like in total?
Yeah, like I'm not gonna start paying for it. If they want to take away my badge, cool. I don't care.
Yeah, terrible idea.
Yeah, people are fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just never seemed like fully worth it to like delve into that political space. You know?
Yeah. Like, it's awful because I feel...
It just seems like you only lose.
Exactly. Like you have to... I have so many opinions about things, and I have strong opinions about things, but it's just like, it sucks because that's just who I am, and that's just like a part of my character, and it sucks to have to like rein that in when I don't feel like doing it, but I know like it's probably for the best that I do, and it sucks to have to like self-censor in that way.
Too many bad faith like actors out there, like people that they're just ready and like waiting to tear you down. Yeah.
And then who knows how many of them are real and how many of them are fucking bots at this point.
Yeah, probably most of them.
Because like now the internet's just like entirely weaponized. Like people have seen how like public perception can be manipulated, you know, especially in an environment like American politics where things are just so tribalistic. Like people are constantly looking for excuses no matter how shitty they are. If something happens like the fucking like Paul Pelosi's attack, they're like, oh, actually it was his gay lover. Like Elon Musk tweeted that shit out and then deleted it later. But like people are looking so hard for like the first excuse that they can find, and it's never a good one. But they're like, oh, this is it. This is our excuse so that we don't take the L right now. And it's like, fuck. And then people share it, and then some people believe it, and some people are fucking insane. Oh my God. I've gone into rant again.
It's like never been worse than that. Like the COVID shit is just like broken everyone. Like it's like broken our brain.
The internet destroyed grandma's brain. Boomers shouldn't be allowed online.
Yeah, all this QAnoners and stuff. Yeah. And they were the ones that would always say not to trust anything online.
They're fucked. Everyone's brain is just fucking rotten. Like, and that's again, like bringing it back to like the Kimba video shit. Like that's a small scale version of just everything that's happening in much worse ways, and in ways that people are much more emotionally invested in the outcomes. Like that Kimba shit doesn't matter, and that took fucking forever to debunk. And it was like, it was a huge accomplishment, you know, like changing public perception of a thing. But like, that's nothing compared to all the shit that's happening right now, of just like massive misinformation and people just repeating shit that isn't like, that either isn't true or like has part truths to it, and like intentionally misrepresenting what it is, and just. It's so annoying. We need another question. I'm sorry. I can't.
Okay, this one will cheer you up from a Responsible Turn 925. Recently, Barry Jenkins was announced as director for the Mufasa prequel.
BJ!
And that got a lot of people worried. On the basis of its central concept, a Mufasa origin story. However, given Jenkins' stunning track record with the likes of Moonlight, If Beale Street Could Talk, and the Underground Railroad, I do have some optimism that his style could turn that terrible idea into an impossibly good film, similar to how the Lego Movie or The Last Jedi came out, both of which I love. What are your thoughts on this whole ordeal of auteur directors helming IP-oriented films? That's kind of what I was saying.
I love that I love that you were going to give me a question to calm me down, and we went to The Lion King.
Oh yeah, The Lion King prequel. Do you not stay up at night fantasizing about what could be done in this prequel movie?
It's going to be shit. It doesn't matter. Like Disney has proven that it doesn't matter what director is working for them. Like, maybe Taika Waititi will get some liberties to their style and have some creative choices here and there. But like, in general, it's just, it's so personalityless. It's just this factory produced same thing all the time. Like, we were talking in the Pinocchio movie, the Pinocchio remake, how all of the same issues that exist in all the other live action remakes are found in that. And it just seems like the same people are making them, even though I guess that one was Robert Zemeckis. And I guess fucking the director of Snatch did Aladdin. What's his name? Guy Pearce?
Guy
Richie.
Yeah.
Richie.
Guy Fieri.
Guy Pearce is an actor.
Yeah, Guy Pearce.
Guy Fieri, director of Aladdin. And so it's like, yeah, Barry Jenkins wanted a paycheck. He's there. What's he gonna fucking do? It doesn't matter what he writes. It's gonna have to be a Disney movie. Like, if he's writing anything, it's gonna be written within like extremely strict confounds or whatever. His directing style, they're gonna have either the option of continuing the visual style of Jon Favreau's The Lion King, which looks like shit, and no characters can show any emotion. And he's going to either have to continue that for consistency or make something where maybe you can see what characters are feeling by their facial expressions, which is going to essentially just say, yeah, it was a stupid idea. And Disney would be like, haha, right, isn't that stupid? So, like, I don't know what they're going to do. They're either going to... It doesn't matter. We'll see what the trailer looks like, but it's like, it's not going to feel like a Barry Jenkins film. It doesn't matter that he's attached.
Presumably they want to use that same Jon Favreau technology, right? They're not going to want to get rid of that, especially with how much money that film made.
I mean, you can still use that. You can still film the movie in VR if you want to, and still have like facial expressions. You know, it's not impossible. It's like one of the biggest issues.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm curious, but like the track record with this movie is, indeed is appalling, atrocious. There was just that news about the Hercules one. It's the next one where he's going to be an influencer or something.
I only saw the headline. Did you look into it? Because I didn't. Should we look into that shit?
It was like one of the Russo brothers. They're like producing this live action Hercules thing. I guess he was... Because Hercules, like in that Disney one from the 90s, they kind of modernize it and he becomes like famous, like a famous like sports star.
Zero to hero.
So
and that's
I guess exactly. I guess they're going to modernize it more and have him be a... I'm really curious how they're going to do it, to be honest.
Disney's live-action Hercules will be more experimental and inspired by TikTok, says producer Joe Russo.
Yeah, Joe Russo.
It's a headline.
Yeah, it's definitely a headline.
We'll see what that means.
But like, they all have the exact same look, though. So I don't really know.
Well, if they say experimental, maybe it'll look different. Remember the headline for Jurassic World Dominion, where he said he was going to be like the Joker dinosaur, and then we watched the movie. It's like, I mean, no one would have interpreted that from the film. Maybe it'll just be one of these where it's like this headline means nothing, and it's just them talking about the film and getting some buzz for it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the goodwill to these Disney remakes might be finally starting to wane. If Pinocchio is anything to go by.
Yeah. Oh, that was bad.
Yeah.
I think I lowered my rating for that. It was awful. Yeah.
Yeah, pure shit. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh, boy, that's right. Yeah. Pinocchio. Excited for the new one.
Yeah, Guillermo.
The Guillermo one does look good.
It should be soon.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a good Pinocchio movie this year.
Yeah.
Please.
A lot of new stop motion movies on like Netflix. Henry Selick has a new one he made with Jordan Peele. I haven't seen it. That looks interesting. Yeah, we were talking about Netflix before. I guess we could transition into a news story that like Henry Cavill left The Witcher. He's moving on to do Superman at this point or something like that. He's been cast again as Superman. But they brought they were Witcher, you know, he's the main character in The Witcher. It's not like getting rid of the side characters.
Geralt,
and like people say he's like one of the best parts of the show, and he's the main character, and they're gonna replace him with.
That was the one thing, right? Like even if you didn't like the show, everyone like was happy that he was playing.
Yeah, and then now they're gonna replace him with Chris Hemsworth's brother. I think Liam Hemsworth or Luke Hemsworth. What is it? Something like that. It's like, okay. I guess I can look up which Hemsworth it is.
Maybe they just want to keep it around so they have like the competition to Rings of Power and House of the Dragon.
Yeah, that's kind of what they wanted it to be.
Spectacle.
Yeah. That's like their... Right.
The streaming war content.
Liam Hemsworth.
Shit.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's going to last much longer after that, if that's what they do. Yeah.
Okay.
Got another one? Or are we done?
I'm comfortable being done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you said one more.
Well, we did do one more.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. And we're done.
Okay. We did it.
We did it.
Oh yeah.
I think it's my turn for a recommendation. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
What have you got?
Well, I'm going to leave you hanging for like 30 seconds while I'm just gonna ask. I have one that I'm thinking about that hold on.
Oh, I'm getting scared now.
You're getting scared.
What's it gonna be?
All right. Let's do The Revenant because I have a 4K Blu-ray and it's been fucking forever. And when I was watching, I've watched other films since The Revenant that have done the whole, same time period or same sort of setting, I guess, like
Frontier, yeah.
Prey. I was kind of disappointed by it, and I was reminded of The Revenant. I was like, fuck, I should watch The Revenant again. And I know I have a 4K Blu-ray, and it's a safe one, and my boyfriend hasn't seen it, and he's visiting for a bit, so that's why I went away. I was just asking if he's seen it. So
re-spark my fear of bears.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I went down that rabbit hole of like people being chased by bears on YouTube.
Oh
and stuff
shit!
Like that.
Oh my god!
Something about bears that really like freaks me out.
Yeah.
That's
so,
crazy.
Yeah, good choice for that.
Okay. All right. So yeah, if you don't want to be spoiled for The Revenant, directed by Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu, 2015, Leo DiCaprio and Tom Hardy. And watch it before the next episode comes out. The episodes come out every 2 weeks. You can listen to them early, though, if you go to sardonicast.com, sign up for premium. It's only $2 a month. Did you see that soy jack meme of Elon trying to sell Twitter premium for $8 a month? And that's the meme of like, oh, well, you like coffee, and that only lasts 30 minutes. But the Twitter verified lasts you
Stephen King and shit. Yeah,
$2 a month.
It's crazy.
Lasts you, I don't know, these average podcast episodes average like hour and a half, 2 hours. You get on average 2 of them a month, and you get them early. Anyway, you support the show. Patreon.com/Sardonicast will also do the same thing. And we got merch. Christmas is coming. You can get some Sardonicast merch. Your grandmother will finally respect you if you get her some Sardonicast merchandise. Also, there's a Sardonicast highlights channel on YouTube. You can subscribe to that as well. Thank you so much. Happy Puss in Boots. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Dude buds.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.